From Amateur Radio Newsline Report number 2054, these are the Ham Nation headlines for Wednesday, March 15th, 2017. Ham Radio may have just helped launch the physics career of one Indiana teenager.
Maria Lisandru, KD9 BUS, is one of 150 students nationally to be named a Coca-Cola Scholar. Maria was selected from over 86,000 applicants. The scholarship program focused mostly on community involvement, which included her music and, of course, ham radio. The senior at Bloomington High School South in Bloomington, Indiana, who is president of the Amateur Radio Club, plans to study physics next year, partially due to her involvement in the school's ham radio program. Maria explains how ham radio played a role in landing this $20,000 scholarship.
For some of the essays, they were just mainly about leadership and how you've been a leader throughout your community. And one of my communities was that I talked about ham radio. So I talked about how I'm a woman in science and how I go to my research lab and I'm one of the only people in my astrophysics research lab, or the only woman in my research lab. And it makes me want to continue to pursue science because I want to kind of merge that gender gap in science, especially in physics. And so I talked about ham radio and how during contests I'm like one of the only women on air, and how I went to the Dayton Hamvention. Mr. Rapp invited me to the Dayton Hamvention and he contacted the people there, and I actually talked at the educator forum, or the teachers forum, and I talked about how to get more women in science and more women in ham radio specifically. And so I talked about how I hope to, in my future, to be a leader in ham radio and be a leader for women in ham radio, especially younger women.
Maria will be making her college selection soon as she puts the finishing touches on AP Chemistry. Basking in the sunlight radiating off of Maria, I'm Mr. Rapp, WB9 VPG, reporting for Amateur Radio Newsline.
Maria's brother is Padraig Lisandru, KC9UUS, our 2013 Young Ham of the Year. A founding member of the Hurricane WatchNet has become a silent key.
The Hurricane WatchNet has lost one of its original members. U.S. Air Force Colonel Don K, K0IND, has become a silent key on March 1 following a 3-year battle with lung cancer. Don, a native of Detroit, Michigan, and a graduate of the U.S. Naval Academy, served in the U.S. Air Force after attending basic flight school and later became an all-weather pilot. Don's military service lasted from 1946 until 1977. He was known to many as a devoted ham and Elmer, and qualified for his amateur radio license in the early 1950s while stationed in Colorado Springs. He is considered a co-founder of the Hurricane WatchNet, which he joined in 1965 as one of the original members. He was assistant net manager for 23 years and later net manager for 4 years, ending in 1992. He even designed the Hurricane WatchNet logo in the early 1980s. Don K was 89. For Amateur Radio Newsline, I'm Mike Askins, KE5CXP.
For the rest of this week's Amateur Radio News, please listen to the full Amateur Radio Newsline report online on a repeater near you or on shortwave radio station WTWW at 9930 and 5085 kilohertz. And a reminder that the nominating period for the 2017 Bill Pasternak WA6ITF Amateur Radio Newsline Young Ham of the Year Award is now open and runs through May 31st. You can find the nominating form on our newly redesigned website, arnewsline.org, under the YHOTY tab. We'll present the award to a deserving young amateur at the Huntsville, Alabama Ham Fest in August. And that's all from the Amateur Radio Newsline, your independent source for amateur radio news for 4 decades and counting at www.arnewsline.org. With Neil Rapp, WB9 VPG, Mike Askins, KE5CXP, Karen Eve Murray, KD2GUT at the news desk in New York, and our news team across the globe, I'm Don Wilbanks, AE5DW. 7-3. We'll see you next time here on Ham Nation.